morning, everybody. We finally have had an early start, which is really nice. You see Doug over there, and Dad's just right there. It's currently 9:47, and Dad's been going for probably half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, and Doug's been going for about 10. It's just been a lot of very wet mornings. We had some rain, and then the ground's really damp. But we're getting into the end finally. This field, and then I got another one about a mile and a half that way. This will be the last of my invigor canola. It seems to be doing pretty good, based off of what's left here and what Dad's done, and I'm thinking it'll be flirting with 40, which I'd be very happy with. Not thrilled, but happy. And once we're done that, hopefully this afternoon, we will get down to Wordsworth. And I'm trying to do some mental math there. I want to say we did 50 acres on our big field there, so call that one 500. And I don't know, maybe 160 left on my other big field down there. Just, that's the DeKalb stuff, and it is just flat as can be. And there's disease in it and regrowth and not very good yield. So, yeah, that, call it 660 plus 20 here and 145 over there. That puts us around 950 roughly acres to go. Doug's got some dust coming through there. Oh yeah, I can't zoom in a whole lot. It's probably only a foot tall at the high point. The MacDons are doing a great job picking everything up, aside from where it's just, there are some spots where it just got flattened, and you just can't pick it up. Not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing today yet. Me and Zach have been kind of cycling back and forth as far as who gets to run the grain cart and who's the trucker. It's kind of whatever you get bored of, you do the other thing. I tend to do more trucking just because if there's more logistics, and if it frees me up to run and fix something, and then Zach can truck for a little bit if we have a combine down. We did have the other combine down yesterday. The right-hand draper on the canvas got a rock wedged up underneath it, and it burnt through. Not burnt up, but yeah, that sucked. The cost of the canvas, I'm gonna sound like my dad. When I started farming, which keep in mind was only 6 years ago, to do both canvases was $2,800. This year it was $2,100 for one. Yeah. COVID pricing still in effect. For the most part, combines have been running good. Luckily yesterday, Barassa's had the canvas that we need pre-cut, ready for us pick up, like in stock. I called and they said, yeah, we got it. They only had one, which was good, and I took it. Probably took us 2 hours to get it all in there and changed out, which is sad, because not that is sad, it's just an awkward job. It's what's sad is that was a more expensive breakdown part wise and took half the time it did to change those idlers and the fan belt on this thing. So that was a stupid design on that engine. Just realized I lost my train of thought earlier. I was mentioning how harvest was going slow because there was a lot of wet. There was also a lot of stock. Everything started out really good as far like as growing, and that's in park. And so the wheat had a little more stock, a little heavier stock. Stayed up pretty good, to be honest, aside from the stuff that got blown down by the tornado. And the canola, yeah, had a lot of stock and seemed to take forever to dry down. And a lot of it is flat or leaned at least. And we're having an awfully slow time doing canola. Doing wheat was also slow. Like, we haven't had a lot of 4 mile an hour. It's been a lot of 3 and under, just to let the headers do their work and to not be groaning through some nasty green stuff where it sounds like a couple of camels humping in the back of the machine. So yeah, like our acres per hour with 75 feet of header has been considerably less than with 70 feet of drill. And you know, the drill needs to stop every 3 hours for a fill. Usually the combines, because of the grain cart, are running constant. While I'm here, I'll show you how flat things are. Usually doing canola, we set things at the contour buddies at about the highest they can go, which is around the 11-inch mark. You can see we're barely cutting. One side's stubble, the other side's canola. With the header tilt, you can kind of manipulate it an inch or two. So we're probably in the, most of it is around, I don't know, 5 inches that we're cutting. And you can go down to 4 and up to 6. But you can see that, you know, aside from a few tufts that are standing up, most of this is 8 inches at the worst for height, and as high as probably a foot, and then some of it's 2 feet. It is nice that it's all down evenly. We found that cutting at an angle seems to help, but when it's all down evenly, you're not lifting your reel constantly and screwing around with that. You know, this spot over here, that's something Dad mentioned. He goes, yeah, when we were looking at it from the road, it didn't look that bad. And you can kind of see this last little bit that got left here. It's probably 18 inches high. But, or sorry, this is the east side. Over at the west, it's flat. So that makes for slow chewing to make sure that you get everything. Missed a little bit there. You can see on the headland, everything's laid. I don't know if you can see, but see how flat some of it's laid? Like, it's broke off 2 inches above. The only thing that was if that was wheat, the whole thing would be ankle high. Luckily, the canola is bushy enough that it kind of keeps itself lifted. But there's definitely places where you can't get it all just because it's blown so flat. So, makes for slow days. With any luck, we got, like I said, 950 acres, as long as we don't have a serious breakdown. Today is Wednesday. I'm hoping we'll be done Saturday at some point. yeah, it's really hard for us to average 300 acres a day. It's kind of been around, a good day for us lately has been 250. A lot of days have been 200, which is kind of painful. But it is what it is. We'll grind her out. Well, we'll send Zach on his merry way. Oh, I'm hoping the rest doesn't fit, but would make life easy. Something smells. Oh, Zach just revved it. Would make life really easy if everything would fit on this next load, and then me and Zach can move stuff down to the next field. Yeah, so as I was saying, with any luck, we should get into, oh, there's a bit of a spill. Should get into my south stuff today, like supper time maybe. And hope, yeah, I'd really like to move before dark. We don't move any significant distance at dark. Especially if we have to leave the headers on. I know that's a bit of a controversial subject. So here's a good spot to show you how things are leaned. Like I said, if it was wheat and it was laid over there, we would be having a really terrible time. Again, this hasn't been rolled. There's not lots, but there's rocks out here. Not like down by Wordsworth. But you can see she's kinked right over. But the MacDons are doing a really good job at getting most. You can see where it's bushy and it holds itself up. We're able to cut it where it is standing. We'll call that 7 inches, 8 inches. Might have been riding a little high on the outside there. I was just opening up the field and we probably had the header raked back. Most of it you're seeing, put my fist beside it, call that 6 inches. So we're having to cut quite low in the canola. And then we'll have to harrow it too. Because this stuff in the spring won't be a lot of fun to go through the drill. It'll get, once it's busted off down there, rotted out, it'll get hung up on shanks. But it's thrashing up really nice. I did desiccate this. I really got to think next year, especially if things are going to start having a lean in it, about desiccating everything. It's just, if it does start going over, boy, does it goes through a lot nicer. Overall, this field is very clean. You will see a couple spots where there's some undergrowth. But looks like Doug dumped a stone trap here. Nothing. Dad's combine was over there. Doesn't look like he dumped his stone trap. He did put a small stone through yesterday and it knocked out a couple bolts on the stationary chopper. But here's a good example of what could cause a lot of issue in wheat. This bad boy, that would break. Oh, that's really bad, that one. One thing that we've been very vigilant in this year is making sure that the disc is nearby, and if the disc isn't,
like we've never had it where the disc is 6 miles away. The furthest I think it was is about 2 miles. Like, we might not move the disc down to the next field. We'll see how things are running, if we have time, all that fun stuff. But this guy, we always have this guy close by. And we've actually found a lot of other uses for it, mainly in washing. But we've had a couple times, like, my combine doesn't have, you can fold the top down of the hopper, but it doesn't seal. It's open in the middle. So we had one rain and there was some residual canola in there, and it kind of sprouted and got nasty and smells like pig crap. And we just found a hill and parked it on the side, opened up that sump and ran the washdown hose, and boy, it works good. So that was a really good investment, that one. Oh, there's sun. Just got the call. We got done everything out east. The one field went almost exactly 40. I think it was 39.4 or something like that. And I said it'd go 40. The other field, I said, looks about the same, but I know the downslope gets kind of gravelly. I don't know what the final total was, but I'm thinking it's pretty damn close to that 35. So the boys are on the move right now. They've got a scenic trip. I've got to empty this guy, and I'm going to meet him there, and then we got to go back for another trip, grab the disc, the other semi, my truck, Dad's truck, and Doug's truck. Maybe we'll leave Doug's truck because there's only 4 of us to move stuff. We'll see. But now that we're done out east, that means we're right around 700 acres to go. I don't know exactly how much we got done on my piece. I'm gonna say around 50 acres of the 550 acre field. And again, I can't remember exactly how much is done out of my 360 acre field, but I'm gonna say around 200 is done. So it's gonna be right around that 700 mark.